Now, welcome back. The Amabhungane Centre for Investigative Journalism says that they have obtained information that points to a major cover-up of the theft that took place at President Cyril Ramaphosa's Phala farm, in which proceeds of the sale of game was stolen. Now, this follows details in a case that had been opened by former State Security Agency Director General and former Correctional Services National Commissioner Arthur Fraser, who alleges that more than $4 million was stolen from the president's farm in the Waterberg region of Limpopo in February 2020. Now, yesterday, the president maintained his innocence and denied any allegations of a cover-up. Managing a partner for the Amabhungane Centre for Investigative Journalism, Sam Soul, joins us now. Sam, good morning. But before we get into this discussion, let's just listen to the president yesterday maintaining his innocence on this.
Finally breaking his silence, ANC president denies ever covering up the theft of millions of dollars off his Phala farm. This after former State Security Agency boss Arthur Fraser laid criminal charges against him. But Ramaphosa has dismissed the claims, branding them a political witch hunt.
I was not involved in any criminal conduct, and once again I pledge my full cooperation with any form of investigation. Now, due to the investigation, I will not really be able to engage deeply or further on this matter, as we should allow the due process to take place. However, I would like to say that I'm a farmer. I'm in the cattle business and the game business. And through that business, which has been declared in Parliament and all over, I buy and I sell animals. Sometimes people buy these animals, and some of the people who have bought some of the animals, some of them are here. I do it, yes. I do it through, the sales are sometimes through cash or sometimes through transfers.
The president also disputed the $4 million amount, but when asked to clarify, this is what he had to say.
That is part of the whole process of investigation, as I said. So let us allow that to take its due course. And that's precisely what I was giving a little bit of color on.
Meanwhile, Ramaphosa lauded the province for holding what he terms a smooth and peaceful conference. Stanley Mathabata's slate made a clean sweep, winning all 5 positions by a huge margin. Mathabata, who had previously endorsed ANC President Cyril Ramaphosa for a second term, took the opportunity to do it yet again.
Lead us, Matamela, Reagorata, Matamela.
30 additional PC members were elected. 5 current MECs did not make the cut.
Right, and that, of course, from yesterday at the Limpopo Provincial Conference. Now, Sam Soul from Amabhungane joins us now. Sam, good morning, and thanks for speaking to us here on Morning Live. So, very interesting, you heard the president there maintaining his innocence. But, of course, in your investigative piece, you raised 3 very important questions. What did the president know? What did he do? And why the cover-up? So let's start with that cover-up. So your investigations have revealed that there was indeed a cover-up, not so?
Well, look, certainly the information points to that. We did our investigation and wrote our story without the benefit of seeing Arthur Fraser's affidavit, which has since come out and been reported in the Sunday papers now, and is also circulating on social media. We didn't have that, but we did establish with our Namibian colleagues that the Namibian authorities had become aware of at least 3 of the suspects implicated in this robbery when they made quite significant transfers from South African bank accounts to Namibian bank accounts in the region of 6 million rand, or 6 million Namibian dollars. And they began investigating 3 of these characters. Then in June 2020, one of those suspects who's been implicated in the theft at the farm, a man by the name of Emanuela David, he crossed the border from South Africa to Namibia illegally. That was picked up by the Namibians. They arrested him a couple of days later. And then a couple of days after that, Namibian journalists, including one of our colleagues, were made aware by the Namibian authorities, by sources they had, of these rumors that this person had been involved in a theft at Ramaphosa's farm. We were not able to corroborate that back in 2020. It was the middle of lockdown, etc. But when the allegation came out on I think it was on Wednesday, when Mr. Fraser published his statement, we went back to our Namibian colleagues and we started digging. And what became apparent was that the Namibians had attempted to investigate further. They had even prepared a formal mutual legal assistance request to the South African authorities, asking for more information about three people involved, about their bank transactions in South Africa. What we also discovered was that the Namibians were basically told to keep this quiet, shut it down. That there were back channel in intelligence communications, which kind of gave that message to the Namibians, and in fact the South Africans did not cooperate. No information was provided, and the one person, you know, who was merely convicted of an offence under immigration laws, he paid a 20,000 Namibian dollar fine and was released and was deported back to South Africa. So that information that we obtained from the Namibian side, now we see in Mr. Fraser's affidavit, tends to corroborate his claim that this theft was handled in an irregular manner. And an investigation was pursued off the books. Even the president's spokesperson has confirmed that the president informed the head of the Presidential Protection Unit, but that person, General Rueda, conducted what appears to have been an irregular investigation because no formal case was laid, and no one in the end was arrested. So there are many questions about, firstly, about the money, about whether it was handled appropriately. There's questions about whether the president knew about that, what he knew. He was out of the country at the time of the theft. But then there, I think, are even more serious questions about how the aftermath was handled, how the investigation was handled, whether that was done legally, procedurally, and if there was an attempt to keep this quiet. Why on earth did that happen? These are the serious unanswered questions now.
And of course, it is evident that there was an attempt to keep this quiet. It is now 2 years on, and we are now really at the end where we are really digging to try and find out what actually happened, Sam. But also, what did the president know? The president obviously knew something because he had instructed the head of the Presidential Protection Unit to investigate something. Also, yesterday, when asked by SABC journalists about this theft, he then, as the report goes, claimed that it was not the said amount in question, which then confirms that there was money stolen. The president knew about this, but of course, the detail around this is still unknown.
That's correct. And it's the devil is in the details, as they say, and what he knew and when he knew it. And what did he do? Because those are the key questions. Was the money? I think there are laws that you may not hold foreign currency for more than 7 days. I'm sure the president has people who actually run this business, but it's a question there of what did he know? It does appear that in the course of the investigation, people who were employees at his farm were detained in some manner, interrogated in some manner. It doesn't appear as if that was done procedurally. The question is, did the president know about that? In relation to the suspects and the way in which the investigation proceeded, the Namibian connection, etc., the fact that there was no cooperation with the Namibians, that there was apparently no attempt to have these people arrested and brought to trial. What did the president know about that? It's all very well to say he reported it originally to the head of protection unit, but you don't have something like that and just never ask another question about, well, what happened about my money? And frankly, whether it was $1 million or $4 million is neither here nor there.
And that is the other nub of the matter, isn't it, Sam? Because if the Namibian financial authorities picked up on these transfers that were made, where were the South African financial authorities? What do they know? What did they flag? And SARS, in terms of just monies that were paid as a result of taxation on the proceeds of sales, which again, the president actually acknowledges.
Yes, look, I mean, at this moment, there's no evidence to suggest that, you know, the way in which the president conducts his business is problematic and that he doesn't declare income. Whether it's $1 million or $4 million or more, that's an enormous amount of cash to have lying around. One of the other questions is, where was the cash? There's an allegation that it was concealed in furniture or in a sofa, etc. That's not normally how a business would deal with cash, even if they're in a position where they're a cash business or often a cash business. So I'm afraid I don't think the explanation that there's an investigation and therefore I can't say anything is going to be sustainable for very long. The president will have to make a statement in relation to this. He may as well, through his lawyers, issue that now. There's nothing to indicate that would interfere with the police investigation. I think he needs to come clean and explain exactly what he knew and what happened.
So when the president says to SABC's journalists yesterday that the amount in question is not what is being reported, again, it's an acknowledgement that there was money that was stolen on his farm. But let's just focus on that for a moment, Sam. As you said, there are rules and regulations that clearly govern how much money, how much forex any individual could have on them in their possession at any given time. If this was Sakina Kamwendo or Sam Soul, would those authorities not be swarming around you and I at this point, even after these allegations were made, and with a tacit approval from us about the facts around this?
Look, I think one is entitled to hold foreign currency for 7 days before you have to remit it to a domestic bank. We don't know when this transaction, the farm manager or the people working for the president said these were private sales that took place. We don't know when they took place. We don't know what the procedures were, but those are good questions. These are very high value animals that the president breeds and sells. So the figure is not necessarily surprising or alarming. It is surprising or alarming if that kind of money is not properly secured. That would demand an explanation. But it also is. We still need the details of where it came from, who managed it, what was done with it. But I think the aftermath, we're likely to discover that there are a lot more problems with the aftermath of the theft than the run-up to the theft.
So in the interest of transparency, 2 years later, Why hasn't the president set the record straight? Why haven't the necessary investigations been done? What's going on?
Well, look, that's precisely the question that gives rise to suspicion, because normally, you know, if there's a gang heist and somebody steals, 60 million rands worth of cash, one would want those people to be traced, charged, prosecuted, arrested, etc. If they are criminals who operate across borders between here and Namibia, you wouldn't want them to be able to just skip to Namibia and use the proceeds of their theft as they wish. You would want this followed up and uncovered and solved.
Unless you are trying to cover up something bigger, of course.
Precisely. So that's the big, serious unanswered question as to why was there this attempt to handle this, as I say, in an off-the-books manner. And that question is obviously going to have to be answered at some stage. It may be that the president is playing for time. And I don't think we must ignore the political context of what has come out. The former head of Director General of State Security, Arthur Fraser, has said if you look at his affidavit, he got basically all of this information from someone on General Wally Rueder's staff. In other words, someone from the Presidential Protection Unit leaked this or provided this to Mr. Fraser. We don't know when, we don't know how long Mr. Fraser has been hanging on to this before deciding to make use of it in what is, clearly part of a kind of political contestation.
That notwithstanding, though, Sam, there are serious questions to be answered by the president.
There absolutely are. There are. I'm saying that in the context of perhaps why the president is playing for time. I assume and I think that Mr. Fraser's latest volley that he's fired is an opening gambit. I think that in the run-up to December, this is not the first. This is not the last allegation against the president and revelation against the president that we're going to see. So the president may be wanting to arrange his own defenses before he comes out, but I don't think he can avoid coming out and giving a proper explanation.
Sam Soul, thanks so much for speaking to us this morning. Managing partner for Amabhungane Centre for Investigative Journalism, Sam Soul, and speaking to us there about their latest investigative piece in the information that they have managed to gather, pointing to a major cover-up of that theft that took place at President Cyril Ramaphosa's Phala farm, during which proceeds of the sale of game were allegedly stolen.